use your powers for evil.
Evil? Your evil is mine.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs. Welcome back for episode 81, and my partner in crime is here with me. My partner in time is here with me. They just happen to be the same person. That's Jesse Jackson.
Hello, Charles Skaggs. So glad to be here. So glad to talk Doctor Who. This is our second attempt. Skype. So for those of you following along on the drinking game, say that. The question I have is, I saw a few headlines and I want to know real quickly, do you feel like this season's streak has ended of being great episodes?
Well, since we've already covered this, you know my answer. But
listeners don't know.
Yes, for the benefit of everybody else. No, I don't believe it has. In fact, I think this episode, Oxygen, actually is the best of the season so far. So
I don't know if I'll go that far, but I think it was really good, and I'm really happy. We're going to talk a little bit general thoughts in a minute, but I always love when it's the space episode and we've got the isolated either survivors, explorers, lab technicians, whatever you want to call it. They're in this place, they're being going. It's a little bit of a zombie episode. This was a lot of fun. Yep. Who was the writer perhaps, Charles?
As if you don't know.
As I send a softball his way.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for teeing that one up for me.
Yeah.
This episode was written by Jamie Matheson, who some of you may remember from The Mummy on the Orient Express and also Flatline. Two really good episodes, in my opinion. The Girl Who Died, another great episode. And so anytime Jamie Matheson's name comes up as one of the writers, my ears perk up instantly because I dig his scripts. I think they have some great dialogue, great character work, great character interaction between the Doctor and the companion. And this one was no exception, in my opinion.
I totally agree. He has a great pedigree. He is some really interesting writing. I like how he writes the Doctor. I liked the characters on this. So I agree. This continues to be a really strong season. By the way, Ken Schaefer, take a drink. Being back at work, I'm back in Ken and I on our regular rotation, and he is agreeing with us,
which is wise.
Yeah, how strong the season is, and he tends to agree with you. And we'll talk when we get to our Bill segment,
which is even more wise to agree with me.
I will share what he was saying.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to agree with me.
Yes. So
but if you do, points.
Absolutely.
This episode is also directed by Charles Palmer, who I'm not as familiar with.
Okay.
And it's the 5th episode from Series 10, so almost the halfway point of Series 10 already. So, all right, let's dive into I don't have any cast notes this time because there didn't seem to be anybody exceptional that stood out. All talented people, but no one that really stood out for work outside Doctor Who or anything.
Yeah.
So my first topic
Yes.
that I want to cover. Blinded by the Lights.
Oh, a Bruce Springsteen song.
No, actually, it's a Manfred Mann's Earth
No.
Band song. No.
No, it is a Bruce
Yeah.
Springsteen song.
No. No.
Yes.
Manfred Mann did it first.
No, Bruce Springsteen wrote it.
For Manfred Mann.
So he wrote it, and it was on his first album. So don't
Yes.
F with me on Springsteen things, Charles. I don't F with you on Charles on
All
Doctor
right.
Who. So
Okay.
yes,
All
yes. In
right.
fact, he talked about he
But
talked about
which version does everybody remember? The Manfred Mann version.
yes, but it's Bruce Springsteen's song. So
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Don't F with the boss. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't get all defensive.
Hey,
Boy,
I'm just saying.
He's ready to throw down.
Hey.
Jeez.
I can't talk bad about K9. We can't talk bad about the boss. Yes.
I wasn't talking bad about the boss.
Blinded by the Light. So hey.
Yeah.
Nice twist.
Right.
I was thinking as Bill is panicking.
Yes.
And everyone's panicking that her helmet is off.
Mm-hmm.
In the back of my mind said, could a Time Lord, a Gallifreyan, be a little more sturdy, a little more have the ability to take that, the void of space. And so when they later talked about that, I was happy to see that. I was happy that he was able to take it, but I was also happy to see that it wasn't like my favorite comic book character, Superman, like, dun da da, no problem, because I am a Time Lord, so therefore I can breathe in outer space. There was a cost, and we later found out there was a bigger cost, perhaps, but I thought that was a nice miss and good stuff.
Yeah. Normally, the Doctor can survive, or at least can survive longer in such a thing, in such an environment as the vacuum of space, because he has what's known as a respiratory bypass system.
Okay.
Where he's able to control that, and it helps him apparently able to keep it, like another person would not be able to breathe after, their lungs would exhaust themselves, but the Doctor is able to shut that off temporarily.
Yes. So
that he can stay in that kind of environment at least long enough to get through it. Because we've had other stories in the past. Forward to Doomsday, a Peter Davison story comes to mind, where the Doctor would be out in space and would need this to get back inside, would need to have this skill to survive.
Right. Okay.
But as far as being blinded, that is definitely new as far as being blinded from the vacuum of space. And I think it's mostly because Jamie Matheson goes out of his way to address the basic scientific principles of how a person would cope with being in the vacuum of space. And the Doctor kind of lays this out at the beginning, because we get the Doctor once again in the professor role, the college professor role, talking about space and the its effects and how detrimental it is to the human body and whatnot. And turns out it's for something completely different that he's supposed to be talking about.
Yes, that was a very funny line. Very nice. He did give a little homage to Star Trek at the very beginning.
Right.
And I just loved the very confused student. What's this have to do with crop rotation?
Right.
So I thought that was really kind of funny and good stuff, which led to, which will probably be one of your subjects, Nardole being a little more active this time and him being very funny. So, so obviously the Doctor won't stay blind unless he's going to stay blind till he regenerates.
Which I hope not. I don't want to see a blind doctor for the rest of Capaldi's run.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to see Daredevil, Doctor Daredevil,
Yeah.
but yeah. So, but
He might call himself Dr. Daredevil
yes,
because it's that kind of cool alias that he
yeah.
likes.
It was a nice kind
Twist.
of twist. I did not see. Well, I wondered when he said, you know, stop talking and look at this, and when he had the sonic shades on, I wondered if something was going on, but up until that I didn't.
Well, I kind of tipped onto it once he was sitting in his office and he's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah,
He's not really looking at anything. He's just sitting there,
right.
which he never does. He's always like, his eyes are darting across the room
Yes.
some way. Even if he's wearing the sonic shades, and obviously he was wearing the sonic shades here.
Right.
So yeah, I was very suspect about that.
Yes.
Suspicious because that it just seemed like that's where they were going to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully something happens. I mean, and you kind of wonder because they made a point of showing Nardole repairing the doctor's eyes at the end of the episode.
Yes.
But then to go ahead and do that twist afterwards that he's still blind.
Yeah, which was nice.
And I'm guessing we got to get an explanation for that because if Nardole repaired his eyes, they should be working, right?
Yes.
Unless there's some Time Lord-y reason for them not working.
Yeah, and it gives just a nice twist and a kind of, what do we do? What are they trying to do?
Right.
So yeah, I agree.
Unless
Yes.
rule one applies and the doctor is lying for whatever reason and he's just pretending to be blind.
Boy, I think that's the
That would
con
be
and a con and a con. I think that would be a little too much, and I would be kind of what? But we'll see what happens.
I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility,
Absolutely not.
especially where the doctor's concerned.
Yes.
So I'm just keeping that
Okay.
out there just in case.
Keeping that option available. I
You know
understand.
me, I always got to cover every scenario.
Absolutely. Cool.
All right. So, what did you think about, the doctor makes a point of openly defying Nardole, and because he wants to get out there, he doesn't want to be tied to Earth, and that's one of the things we know about the Doctor, especially during the John Pertwee era, that he's hates being tied down to one place and time. So he's ready to get out there, explore. He's got his canoe companion, Bill. They get along great.
Yes.
So he's ready to get out there, explore. Nardole, not so much. But this time, Nardole actually tags along, which I thought was nice.
I do too. We had talked about that he had not done much this season, and we got to see him a lot this episode, so that made me happy. The Doctor could very easily have the question authority bumper sticker on the TARDIS because he doesn't like authority. He doesn't like the authority at Gallifrey. He doesn't like the authority in Earth. He doesn't like the authority when he goes to any of these other civilizations. I mean, he truly is, he's
just a contrarian by nature.
Yes.
That he doesn't like to be told what to do. He tells others what to do.
Right.
He doesn't want to be told what to do.
And this has been consistent among his many generations, but it is very appropriate for this punk doctor. Right. Because this is, hey man, anti-establishment and such. So I think that's nice.
Well, the kind of that kind of rocker attitude.
Right.
I wouldn't consider him necessarily punk, but I would definitely consider him at least, that aging rocker that, just that thumbs his nose at authority. and does what he wants.
Okay, good.
So he's very rock and roll, this doctor.
Yes, he is.
And I think we're all better for it.
Absolutely.
But so do you think the doctor's overconfidence, that he was so caught up in wanting to get out there and have an adventure, do you think that now he sees the consequences of that, of shirking his responsibilities?
No, I do not. Because the doctor has had worse consequences.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
he's had to regenerate. He's lost companions. He's lost people he was going to protect. So I think, and I don't want to make this sound callous, but traveling in the TARDIS, you're going to break a few eggs,
Right.
and he understands that.
You can't make an adventure without breaking a few companions.
Exactly. So, and I just don't think that is going to be, as we're hearing the theme.
I mean, was that the doctor calling?
Yes, it was. The doctor's saying that is not true at all, Jesse.
He's disputing that.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't think so. Do you feel that way?
I kind of agree with you on this because I can't see the doctor. I see this as just a momentary setback for the doctor.
Yes.
I'm sure because he's traveled so many places, and so there are so many options available to him to get his sight back.
Yes.
I can't see why this would bother him.
I totally agree.
Unless, and then this is why I'm kind of doubting the legitimacy of it a little bit, because he does have those options. This is not the end of the world for him or the end of the universe. This is, he could always send the TARDIS to some planet to get healed, and maybe he's going to do that in the next episode, Extremis.
Right.
But so we'll see. But yeah, I'm very guarded about this. Something doesn't seem right here to me. It's just my instinct reacting. I could be just totally over analyzing it.
Yeah.
Because I've been known to do that once or twice, but
absolutely.
But who knows, eh? Who knows?
Who indeed? Yes.
Yes. All right. So, anything else about the Doctor in this episode you'd like to talk about?
No, not at all. I mean, once again, he's very confident. I really liked the way he figured out how to save everyone.
Right. Once again, it boils down to the Doctor paying attention.
Yes. And so I thought that was very good.
Right. It's always great to see the Doctor using his intellect, of his powers of observation, that put even Sherlock Holmes to shame.
Absolutely. I agree.
And it's always great to, when he connects those dots and he gets that look in his eye, like, I figured this out.
Yes.
We're going to be okay. And that one moment where he talks to Bill and says, well, hey, you're just going to have to stay here and get turned into a zombie. But trust me, it'll work out, really. Yeah. And she's like, what?
I also like the point where they said, you could have just told us it's an empty suit. Oh, but it was good for your adrenaline. I mean, he has that, he wanted to surprise them and shock them. And so I thought that was very cool.
Well, again, it's always the Doctor has to show off and be clever.
Yes.
For an audience.
What's the point of me being clever if you're not here to see it, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to my second topic I want to bring up.
Okay.
These suits are made for walking. That's just what they'll do.
We are very musical this season.
Yeah. So, I did a little reset of the Nancy Sinatra classic. These movies.
Yes, indeed.
Right here on the countdown.
Yes.
Casey. And go ahead.
So go ahead and ask your question.
Well, I was just going to ask you what you thought of, and this is a reference to Bill in this episode, because Bill is essentially a captive of her own smart suit in this
Yes.
episode, her malfunctioning smart suit. And so I kind of wanted to get your take on things because, yeah, this is Bill's first journey into space. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, she has visited like that one, when the doctor traveled to where the Daleks were
Right.
in the first episode, the season.
And they
But
were in a foreign planet with the
right,
emoji robots.
right. But this is really like
In
outer
space.
space.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Bill in space.
Yeah.
And
Camp.
and it really didn't connect with her. She's like, oh, it doesn't really feel like space. And then she looked out the window,
Right.
and she's like, oh, now it feels like space.
Yeah, and I loved him saying, that we need to go someplace with um a thin sleeping bag and a leaking tent, right? It's like camping.
Right.
You need to be close. I I
And it's
lo-
got to be, like you have to rough it.
yeah, and I loved her asking about kind of the Yelp reviews. Well, like in there, in her kind of commented that was funny. Yes, great moment of her. Doesn't feel like space, and then seeing the window was wonderful. And then another little moment that shows the just how wonderful this character is and this actor is doing is she's sitting there and there's that propaganda poster, trust your smart suit, be good to your smart suit, it'll be good to
Mm-hmm.
you, or something. I don't remember the exact. And she just kind of has this this
Like,
like
this is going to be bad.
yeah, because bad things had already happened, and so I like that a lot. I Her confidence in the doctor, and then being afraid, and like why do I need a helmet? I thought the face shield thing, and
Right.
then her hyperventilating. When the zombies are chasing them. Um, Wonderful scene with the alien, because this is the first alien she's really met, and the blue guy, and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, great, we have a racist," and she's like, "Wait a minute, this
Yeah,
is
see that.
so."
Do you see that? Yeah, I totally agree because and she makes this point to the blue alien
Yeah,
that you're like, normally I'm on the receiving end of the racism here.
and then he's like, "Why?" Because in this far in the future,
Right.
their humans are all the same, and so, and then Bill, a lot of my friends are bluish. I mean,
Yeah.
Nardole was
And that was
really,
Nardle's
yeah,
line,
Nardole
yeah.
saying that was just
Yeah.
wonderful. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's normally like, oh, my best friend is black,
yeah, exactly,
to try to excuse away your racism.
yeah, and so
But now I
that
have to
was,
wonder.
yeah.
Speaking of that blue alien, real
Hmm.
quick, do you think he's related to Dorian Maldivar, or hey, we're just stereotyping because hey, all those blue people look alike?
Well, you wonder, is that the same race?
Well, yeah. There's lots of blue people.
Yeah, I
out
don't
there.
know. But yeah, so it's really, really cool. That was cool. Once again, um, Bill is just so likable and so much energy. And she continues to just, I like her as a companion. And we talked about this, and Charles, Ken had not heard the podcast of last
Right.
week's when we were sitting down for lunch, and he said the same thing. It's because she's a true companion. She doesn't have a romantic interest. She doesn't
Mhm.
have a mystery. She's just there to explore for fun, and that's why.
And for somebody the doctor to bounce
Yeah,
dialogue off of
and
as exposition.
and he said, that's why he think, Pearl Mackey's performance and Bill as a character so works. And I told him we are totally in sync, because it does, she's really brought something on. And so I thought that was really neat to see, and this continues. She is smart, she's likable, and when she's flashing to the picture of her mom, that's
Right.
very touching, but you also wonder what's going on with that.
Yeah, they do seem to be bringing that up a lot, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Between Bill and their mom. Maybe they're setting up an eventual meeting between where Bill gets to see her mom.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, obviously
Mhm.
Bill's mom factors in very heavily into her life, and they seem to be teasing more of that.
Yes.
That's a great point you're bringing up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Pearl Mackie is once again does a great job, and I've been encouraged by what I've seen online, where it regards to fans coming to appreciate Bill.
Yes.
Because as we know, Doctor Who fans can be a bit jaded.
Yes, we can. Absolutely.
And I know that's mostly because, most of the Doctor Who fans are British, and British tend to be more jaded about things.
Well, and I also think they're, like a lot of fandoms,
Yeah.
you're trying to savor a lot of masters, and, different people have different thoughts. So, yes, I agree. This has been really
And
nice.
fans being fans, yeah. So
Okay.
so this is why, but this is why I find it encouraging, because like I'm
Yeah.
actually seeing people respond well to Pearl Mackie as Bill.
Yeah.
We still see some occasional like, well, I wish you wouldn't keep bringing up her sexuality.
She didn't bring it
Which-
up this time.
She didn't bring it up this time, so
Yeah.
relax, everybody.
Yeah, hey, you want to have
But-
problems about sexuality, watch American Gods this week. Whoa, we'll talk about that later. Okay.
I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was
Oh,
great.
I love the episode, so yes. All right.
But yeah, anything else about Bill you want to talk
No,
about?
sounds good.
Okay. All right. Third topic. Down to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a reference to a Peter Gabriel song. It's called Down
Okay.
to Earth. So that's
All
why I
right.
chose it. It is the song that Peter Gabriel sings in the movie Wall-E.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with that movie.
Nice.
And this is a reference to Nardole.
Okay.
Because, and we talked about this a little bit, that Nardole actually gets out of the vault. Or at
Yes,
least,
Yeah.
he gets out of the university. He actually gets to go travel with the Doctor again. And he's out there, and I want to get your take on Nardole in this episode, since he finally got to do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this one?
I liked him a lot. I liked him reminding the Doctor that, and it was almost Abbott and Costello.
Mhm.
Not quite, who's on first, but the whole, I took a vow. Someone vowed me to do this. Well, how about, who did that? You did, and then the whole,
Well, he talks about, I didn't want to do this. You
Yeah.
brought me into this or
Mhm.
something.
And then also, he's showing the, widget, and they're like, the TARDIS won't. Who told you that? You did. And so it was really, really nice. I was very happy with it. Yeah, just like, and
That was a very adorable explanation you just did. That the widget, and went.
Yep, and all of a sudden he's gone. And the other cool part was, you've had a friend that says, okay, no matter what I do, don't let me order a third beer, or don't let me text my ex-girlfriend, or, whatever, don't, keep me on my diet. And then, they're like...
Apparently I have a better class of friends. Just saying.
And then all of a sudden, it's just hilarious that the Doctor... Because now the Doctor doesn't want to think about this. And Nardole is really trying to be very... practical, and you promise, and if this happens, this is a bad deal.
Yeah.
And the Doctor doesn't care.
Well, you notice when they land on the space station.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First thing out of, or at least the first reaction, like the Doctor's off exploring, so he's geeking out. Bill's just kind of, checking things out, a little bit freaked out that she's in space.
Yes.
But Nardole is just like, okay, everybody, back to the TARDIS.
Yes, I did love that.
And-
Okay,
and
we'll
then when
be
things
going.
get, and things start going sideways, and he's really like, okay, TARDIS, let's go, come on, let's go, everybody,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
right
Perfect.
there.
Hmm.
So yeah, at least somebody's bringing up the fact that, well, why don't they, if things get bad, why don't you just hop in the TARDIS and leave?
Yeah.
But
Perfect.
yeah, exactly. So I enjoyed that, and then of course at the end of the episode,
Yes.
where Nardole just really lays into the Doctor
Yes.
about, like, okay, you have this responsibility, and like, and you go off and you have these see, this is the kind of consequences that, and things can happen, and and we have made this vow, and if we're not here to see it through, it could be very, very bad, and just lays into him really, like, you wouldn't expect Nardole, I mean, this goofy little guy with a bald head, um to stand up to the Doctor like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And he really got to shine. He got to talk about this face, because I was on a whole, I was on the run, and the voice of the computer is a girl he dated,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he really got to show some personality. And this, once again, you go back to what's going to happen to your precious Earth if you escape. If this happens, what are you going to do? What if you got hurt and all of a sudden, the doctor doesn't want to hear that? And
Sorry,
yeah,
just momentarily distracted by a
yeah,
rampaging dog.
and Charlie's like really upset that the doctor didn't take care of things.
Apparently,
Yes.
apparently. So that was funny. Yeah, I just thought that I totally agree. Sorry, my mind just completely shifted off topic. So apologies for that.
No worry.
It just took me right out of the game.
I understand.
All right. So is there anything else about Nardole you want to talk about?
Nope, not at all.
Okay. Before we get into our favorite quotes of the episode, I just want to touch. I mean, I didn't really have enough for a full topic on this one, but
Okay.
um, so the whole business where we find out that the smart suits are essentially um, killing their users because oxygen is a precious commodity, and it turns out that the mining company that owns this station wants to make the station as cost effective as possible, to the point where they're willing to kill people to make it cost effective. As long as the station keeps making money,
Yeah.
then there's not a problem. And that's what this Dr. Zero's in on.
Yes.
Again, because he's more anti-authority,
Yes.
and so he zeroes in that, oh, hey, all I have to do is just threaten to blow up the station so that they won't be making money, and everything will work out just great.
Yeah, and I loved the double meaning of we are fighting the suits.
Right.
Um,
And the suits in reference to, obviously, corporate types.
Yes.
This, because suits is a common name for, like corporate level executives and whatnot that make all these decisions that affect so many lives, usually to the bad,
yeah, and
because they're trying to save money.
and I really thought the the idea that there would not be any oxygen in this space station, this
Mhm.
mining place, and just in the suits, just seems horrible. I mean, because that means you got to sleep in the suits. You're like, how do you eat, and just all this impractical stuff. And but it's all about, it goes back to you know early coal mines and other
Mhm.
places where you know the since we're in a musical mood, Tennessee Ernie Ford's, I, St. Peter, don't call me because I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
Right.
And this is truly, you owe your life to the company, and you could go, in debt just trying to get enough oxygen to live.
So did you think the show was being a little too preachy against capitalism
No,
in this
no,
episode?
I didn't at all, because This is to the extreme. It's for entertainment purposes. I think
Right.
it's great.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So that's all I really wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Although I did want to bring up that you mentioned the fluid link earlier,
Yes.
and so that's this uh, bit of the TARDIS that in this episode the Doctor tricks Nardole into believing that if he takes the fluid link out, it'll disable the TARDIS so he can't leave.
Yeah.
And here the Doctor's like, go ahead, doesn't matter. But history, as we know because we've watched the Daleks,
Yes.
that in the night, that first story with the Daleks, there's a missing fluid link that makes the TARDIS powerless because it's very crucial as it turns out. And the first Doctor had to go into this Dalek city, which he wanted to do anyway,
Right.
to recover the fluid link because
Absolutely.
it's so necessary to travel.
Right.
So suddenly, I guess all these hundreds of years later, the Doctor finally figures out a way around that problem.
Yes. Well,
So I guess we can't use that as a plot device anymore.
But I was wondering, even back in that early story, did you really need the fluid link, or that was just the excuse for him to get to go explore? So that was a nice kind of callback.
Well, he does get a little panicky. The first
Okay.
Doctor did about like that because he thinks, well, hey, like, oh yeah, I just, like I totally lied about that we need the fluid link. So even though because he brought it with him, but then it gets taken from him.
Yes.
And
Okay.
they go through all this trouble to get it back.
Okay, good point.
So I have to think it was important then.
Okay, all right.
Not now, apparently not so much.
Okay, very nice.
All right. So favorite quotes. There's a lot of them in this one.
Yes, I did want to, before we get to that, and I know we're running out of time because I've got another podcast, unfortunately. We're playing
all right.
catch up. But I did want to, Holly Mac 79.
Yeah, I was gonna,
Holly from Wisconsin. Okay, you had that. I just wanted to mention I won't read her whole email, but it was really nice. She did say the group hug was nice, but Nardole had to take it too far with his cuddle line. I've really been enjoying this season, and I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Looking forward to your thoughts on this episode, Holly from Wisconsin. Bless you, Holly. Thank you so much. We asked for feedback, and you gave it. So
I was gonna read the whole email because I can talk fast.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
So yeah, I'm not Southern, so I can talk fast.
Very nice.
And then she also wrote again. Before then, she also wrote in to Knock Knock, but it was after we recorded that podcast.
Yes.
So I have that commentary as well. So Holly,
okay, go ahead.
Got both of those comments. We appreciate it, but as Jesse says, we're kind of in a rush this week.
I'm sorry, but thank you.
But hopefully next time we can read the whole things. But we did get them, and we definitely appreciate you writing in. And please keep doing that.
Absolutely.
Hopefully next time we'll have time to read your comments.
Yeah. I did love the Bill, what if you're wrong? And the Doctor, well, then we'll be horribly murdered. So let's say I'm right. I liked that quote.
All right, real quick quote. Space, the final frontier. Final because it wants to kill us.
That was great.
Great way to start the episode.
Yes.
And then we also got another Star Trek reference because those space zombies in this episode were a lot like the Borg in Star Trek First Contact.
They were. I also really like the scene where the lady's radio is broke at the very beginning, and she's like, I want to have a baby with you. I want to get serious, and I'm going to tell you this if my radio ever gets fixed. That was a very sweet, and then them both dying was a very emotional, cold opening. I love this line, not just as a Doctor Who line, but I think there's a lot of truth to the universe shows its true face when it asks for help. We show ours by how we respond.
Yes, that was one of my quotes as well, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That is
quote.
Just a great quote, yes.
All right, and now I just end it with, I have one other quote along those lines. You know what's wrong with the universe? Believe me, I've looked into it. Everyone says it's not their fault. Well, yes, it is. It's all of it. It's all your fault. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, great. And then, we kind of already talked about this, but they're not your rescuers. They're your replacements. The
Yep.
end point of capitalism, bottom line, where human life has no value at all. We're fighting an algorithm, a spreadsheet. Like every worker everywhere, we're fighting the suits. And I just love the irony of we are fighting the suits and we are
Right.
fighting the suits. And in a world of layoffs and outsourcing and things, this is
Well,
in
you've
so many
you've you've
ways.
been you're in the corporate world. I'm in the corporate
Yeah,
world.
absolutely.
So we know exactly what's involved with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, rating, Charles.
Rating. I enjoy this one. Surprise. Like I said, I give it 9 out of 10 smart suits.
Um, I agree. This was a really strong one,
It was
and
dark. It was
yeah,
creepy, and it had consequences. So I
yeah,
really liked it.
I do too. I give it 9 out of 10 milky eyes. So,
Okay.
yeah, I like this one a lot. I guess I could have gone 9 out of 10 crisps. When he
Yeah.
says, "I sent you for crisps," yes, I went and saw through that blatant, pour. So,
Right.
Charles, how about our reverse the polarity? I know we got
Yeah.
time for that.
We have, but we've only been on. Our recording's only 40 minutes long, so yeah, we got to pad this out just a little bit, right?
But yeah, but
So
I have a hard stop at 6:59. It's
okay,
7:59 your time.
you got 7 minutes. Stop crying.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna reverse the polarity back to 1968 with The Wheel in Space,
Ooh.
the seventh serial of season 5, written by David Whitaker. And this is the second Doctor and Jamie McCrimmon story.
Ooh, okay.
So hopefully your ears will perk up a little bit with
I
that.
am. I'm feeling good.
So an explosion of the mercury fluid link forces the second Doctor and Jamie McCrimmon to evacuate the TARDIS to avoid mercury fumes. And until the mercury can be replaced, the craft is marooned. So see, that pesky fluid link causes all kinds of trouble.
Okay.
So they find themselves in a deserted space vessel called the Silver Carrier that heads for a space station. So we have a space station shaped like a giant wheel.
There we go.
But
By the way,
Doctor,
quick
yes.
moment. Did you not love Bill jumping to try to float in space?
Well, you know what? She was testing out the artificial gravity.
Yes, she was. That was awesome. Yes.
She was like, "Oh, this sucks."
Yes.
I think she wanted to float a little bit.
I agree.
But the Doctor, in the process of heading for the space station, gets knocked unconscious in the process. So the Wheel's crew members are concerned. Meanwhile, on the Wheel, they're concerned by sudden drops in pressure,
Mm.
and which, unknown to them, coincide with these strange pods attaching themselves to the exterior of the Wheel. The controller, Jarvis Bennett, is worried that the Silver Carrier, which was missing and 80 miles off course, has suddenly turned up out of nowhere and isn't responding to radio contact. So he's like, okay, I'm going to destroy it with this X-ray laser we have because I don't trust what's in there. But Jamie's inside, and he alerts the crew to his and the Doctor's presence aboard the carrier. So while the resident medic, Dr. Gemma Corwin, sees to the unconscious Doctor, Jamie is given a guided tour by parapsychology librarian Zoe Harriet.
Ooh.
So this is where the Doctor and Jamie meet Zoe.
Nice.
So, and now that the carrier is empty, Bennett now decides, okay, I can use the X-ray laser on it now. But Jamie sabotages the X-ray laser to protect the TARDIS, which is inside the Silver Carrier, even though it probably wouldn't be destroyed because it's the TARDIS. But
Right.
Jamie doesn't know that. So, unfortunately, this just happens to be the time when a meteor shower heads for the Wheel, and they have no way to repel it now because they destroyed Jamie sabotaged the laser. Don't.
Ugh.
And even worse, those two large pods contain Cybermen, while the smaller pods contain cybermats to consume the beryllium rods in the Wheel stores. The beryllium, as it turns out, is essential to power the X-ray laser. So the Cybermen expect the crewmen will come to the Silver Carrier looking for an alternative source to the beryllium, which can be transported to the wheel, but with a nice little Cyberman surprise inside. The Cybermen decide to repair the X-ray laser because they want to keep the wheel intact so they can use its radio beam for their fleet to home in on. And they want to invade Earth. They're desperate for the planet's mineral wealth. So bottom line, they get Jamie and Zoe end up going for a spacewalk. So there's a walk in space.
Nice.
Because the Doctor wants to get this time vector generator. And then there's a bit where the Cybermen are plotting to poison the air supply. And they have to figure out how to stop that. So the air supply is being affected. And eventually the Cybermen get taken out one by one in the inside of the station, but on the outside there's a bunch of Cybermen on the outside of the hull. So they use this deflector shield to deflect them off into space. And at this time there's a cyber warship, but the Doctor, now that the X-ray laser has been repaired, and with the help of that time vector generator that he wanted, he uses that to destroy the cyber warship and repel the invasion. So everything's good. The Doctor and Jamie return to the Silver Carrier with some mercury they need to repair the TARDIS fluid links. But unknown to them, they're accompanied by Zoe, who stows away on the TARDIS just as it dematerializes.
Very nice. I will have to check that out because I love me some Jamie.
Yep. So the Wheel in Space. So you might have to track that one down a little harder because it's only exists in all 6 episodes in audio form, but there are 2 episodes that exist in video. Episodes 3 and 6, I believe.
Very nice.
But so go ahead. I was just going to try to wrap this up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do too. Thank you, Charles. I am sorry it was such a short episode today, but we are working with multiple nets this time. So and damn Skype. Charles, how can they find you?
Well, first I'm going to say next time we're going to talk about Extremis, written by Stephen Moffat. That's next week's episode, which features the return of Missy.
That's what I've heard. I'm excited.
Who's probably the person in the vault, but just saying.
You hope not, but yes.
Yeah, probably. And then you can reach us at just like Holly did, only Holly reached us at Southgate Media Group.
Yes.
But Holly, if you want to email us directly, you can reach us at nextstopeverywheresmg@gmail.com, or you can reach me at Charles Skaggs, or you can reach us by Facebook on Next Up Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast Facebook account, or our Twitter account at NextStopSMG.
Absolutely. I am at Jesse Jackson, DFW, and on Twitter. And please, I am also on Facebook, Jesse Jackson, Louisville, Texas. Talk to me about the greatest blog in the known freedom world.
Yeah, so in addition to at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, or at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, I'm on Facebook, Charles Skaggs, or Google+, for all you crazy kids in the Google+. And then there's also my blog, Geeky Things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about Doctor Who and Next Stop Everywhere and Torchwood and all kinds of goodness and comics and sci-fi news. And there's lots of comics on TV news that I posted this week on there, so please check that out. And then there's also my other podcast that I do, the Phantom Zone podcast with friend of the show Karen Lindsay, and Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse, where we're going to be covering the first episode of Twin Peaks, which airs, well, actually the first 2 episodes of Twin Peaks, which air Sunday on Showtime. And Zane and I are going to be doing a little viewing party. So Ghostwood together, united, watching Twin Peaks premiere, and we're going to be talking about it later in the week.
And Charles has the biggest smile I have seen for the longest time. Thank you, Thank you, Charles. We will make it up next week on an extra long episode. I appreciate the listeners. I appreciate Charles's understanding. We're going to end with Keep Hope Alive. Thanks for listening, believing in us, and go. There are 2 possible things we've seen so far tonight. Don't you love it when that happens?
Yep. Very nice.
Thanks, guys.
Keep writing in, Holly.
Yes. Bye.
Hello, Whovians. Welcome back to Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs. With me, as always, my partner in crime and my partner in time, everybody's favorite, Jesse Jackson.
Hello, Charles. So I'm going to take a key from you. Love is like oxygen.
Yep.
I didn't know if that was one of your titles or not.
Too much of it, too much.
Yeah.
I was tempted to use that one, but I'm glad I didn't. Yeah.
So we are recording on Monday instead of Sunday because you let me have some time to do Mother's Day stuff. I hope you took care of your lovely mom.
Yes, I did.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Lori and I went over to my parents for Mother's Day yesterday.
Good.
Now my parents are in their 80s,
Right.
so we didn't do too much apart from me bringing over some KFC for everybody and having dinner and watching. We ended up watching Rogue One.
Oh, okay. Fun.
So my mom hadn't seen it. My parents hadn't seen it yet because they don't
Okay.
get to go out to the theaters
Right.
these days.
Yeah. Okay.
So they enjoyed it.
Good.
So.
Very nice.
Although my mom was mad because everybody dies at the end.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a given considering,
Right.
a lot of people died to get us this information. It's a
exactly.
line. So, yeah. Well, great. But we're not here to talk Star Wars. We're here to talk
we're not.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, we're ready to talk Oxygen.
So the question is, has
Episode
this
82, everybody.
has the streak ended for this season from your perspective?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I saw a couple of headliners. No, I thought this was a really good one.
Far from it, in my opinion. I think this is the best of the season so far.
Wow, because you really loved last week's creepy episode.
I
with the
did
ghost
enjoy
story.
It. I did.
Yeah.
I did. So that might give you an indication of my grade this week, my rating.
All right, very nice.
But let's get right into it. This is Oxygen, written by Jamie Matheson, who you may remember wrote the episodes The Mummy on the Orient Express, and he also wrote Flatline, and he wrote The Girl Who Died.
Yeah, pretty good pedigree, right?
Yeah, I would say so, and definitely one of the bright spots of the 12th Doctor era.
Yes.
Because, over the past few, he's been on the past few seasons, and definitely one of the rare gems that Stephen Moffat has found during his era, and definitely I'm always glad my ears always perk up when Jamie Matheson is as listed as one of the writers, and thankfully he did not disappoint as far as I'm